kind of go over something real quick. I don't know if anyone realizes this or kind of thought about this, but Insomniac'S Spider-Man 2 has already been done. My biggest concern about the game is mostly what happened last time we got the similar villains. And when I say that, I don't know if anyone remembers the game still, but Amazing Spider-Man 2 did the exact same thing with the villains. Now, obviously we haven't got the game yet, so we can't really say that for sure, but, I mean, when you think about it, Insomniac is going for... They're going for, like, Kraven the Hunter and Venom. Now, if anyone remembers Amazing Spider-Man 2, they went for Kraven the Hunter, Shocker, and Carnage, and even Green Goblin and Electro. Now, here's why I think it's kind of a issue, or not really an issue, it's a concern. Because for me, it was Kraven and Carnage that made the game fall apart for me.
I don't need 30 minutes. I only need one finger to beat you.
I genuinely think that Kraven the Hunter and Carnage ruined that game. And I say that because Carnage was poorly written. And not only that, but he was introduced while playing with Kraven. So this is kind of an issue because Amazing Spider-Man 2 had a lot of different characters that it didn't need. It didn't need Kraven, it didn't need Shocker, and it certainly didn't need Carnage. Because that was just way too many characters to include in a video game. That's a little loud. So it's like, obviously they have way too many villains. And to top it all off, they had Kingpin. Kingpin. It's someone who should not be. He shouldn't be in a Spider-Man game or for like another game or two. Kingpin is like a big dude. He's someone that you should not be fighting in an Amazing Spider-Man game. So, too many villains on that game. And while Insomniac is just going for... They're only going for, they're only going for Kraven the Hunter and Venom. Okay, I'm getting carried away. Alright. Kingpin, Shocker, Craven, Carnage, Shocker, Electro, I've already said Shocker. Electro, and Green Goblin. That's way too many. And that's not good for a game, especially with how they treated it. And I get that they're two completely different, like, game companies. Like, one was made from Activision. We already know how those games go. And then one was made from Insomniac, one that made the best-selling Spider-Man game. For, like, they've made the same kind of deal twice. So obviously, do not let down. They've obviously made the same kind of thing with both games. Now, I've already had my issues with Miles Morales, mostly due to the fact that it's taking a massive, like, chunk of pages from the first Spider-Man game. Because it's basically doing almost the exact same thing, but different villains. And let me just say why I say that, because Spider-Man 1 from Insomniac deals with Peter growing up, dealing with bills, stuff like that, and he's dealing with relationship issues, going with, like, he's having a fight against Doc Ock, who is his best friend. He's, like, dealing with loss of a friend, fighting said friend, and trying to help said friend. And then he has to also fight the Sinister Six. Now, Miles Morales, well, actually, let me not jump straight to that real quick. Peter also has to deal with multiple bases, from Kingpin's end, Martin Lee's end, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. No, there's Martin Lee bases, Kingpin bases, and prison escapee bases. Okay, now let's go to Miles Morales now. A kid who's learning to deal with growing up, loss of a friend, trying to help said friend, fighting said friend, has to deal with multiple bases. See what I'm getting at here? They almost have, like, the exact same plot. The only difference is Miles doesn't have to fight a massive group of people like Peter did, which I'm actually kind of glad they didn't do that for Miles, because that would have been a massive jump for him, and it probably would have ruined the game for me. However, Miles does have to fight a big guy like Peter did at the beginning of the game. They both web sling just to get the tutorial down, which I'm fine with that part. That's completely fine with me. But something just doesn't sit right when it comes to those, because Miles fights Rhino with a bunch of prison escapees, and Peter fights Fisk with a bunch of his own men. I mean, I kind of saw the similarities the first time I played through both games. Now the map, I can't really get mad at the map. I mean, obviously they're the same. One's just retextured to have snow on it, which I'm fine with. I'm actually glad they went with that approach, because I would have just been bored to play in the same area that Peter played in. Or the same looking area, I should say. However, they do kind of go through similar things in their games. They fight similar kind of villains. Doc Ock being a friend of Peter's, Finn being a friend of Miles. Both of them went evil, and then they had to fight said friends, trying to help said friends. Though I'm pretty sure Miles did it a little bit better. Because, oh, actually, no, he didn't. I'm pretty sure he just did it worse. See, Peter gave Doc warnings throughout the game as soon as Doc made the technology of, like, the neuro system and all that. He was giving him warnings, like, this could change you if you go through with this. I'm not sure if it's safe. Please take it off. Miles, however, found out. He joined her group for some intel, lied to her several times, unlike Peter, who never lied, and the only thing that was, I'm not even going to go that far. Doc only thought Peter was lying, but Peter was always telling the truth in the first place. The only real lie Peter told was the fact that he was Spider-Man's engineer. So, I mean, obviously that's a little better on Peter's part and worse on Miles' part, because Miles more like encouraged it and lied to her about it than really helping her about the situation. And the only time he really showed that he wanted to help her was when he was fighting her, which is several times. Found out about it, he joined her group, lied to her, fought her, tried helping her. Then they kind of made a peace treaty for like 5 minutes. Got captured, etc., etc. I mean, you know how the game plays out. They kind of go the exact same way, except Miles does it 5 times worse than Peter did. So I guess that's the difference. Otherwise, they go through the exact same thing. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. What I'm talking about is, the fact that when they were dealing with Carnage and Craven, they made it seem like Carnage was this lunatic, and he is, but that's all they really did with him. They didn't really show much with his character. Same thing with Craven. I mean, I like how they tried going comic accurate with how he was teaching Spider-Man. But they still handled him poorly, because when you play the game, all you can really think about is, oh, that's that hunter guy. Because that's all he is. From what I remember, he never even changed his outfit. Like, could you imagine what that's like? Living in the same clothes. It's like walking around in the same pajamas in your house for 3 weeks. It's not comfortable after that period of time. It's more weird than anything. But with all the other villains, they just handled them poorly. I hated the Electro fight with every fiber of my being. Especially the Green Goblin fight. I hated that one even more. Fisk fight was alright. I guess you could argue that the fist fight didn't really do much with the mechanics. But, I mean, what do you expect? He's a jock dude who knows karate. And was bullied as a kid because he was fat. Not kidding. So, when you look at it, Insomniac could do what Activision did, just millions times better, and I guess you could say that, but I mean, everyone does have a mess up every now and then, and I just thought about that a few minutes ago, before even making the stream. It was like, didn't Activision try this with Amazing Spider-Man 2 and miserably fail? Now, a big issue for a lot of people was the cluster of villains that weren't handled right in either the movie or the game. And so, like, I guess I can get that. That's weird. It's pretty bad. No one was really handled right in that. Like, Harry, exact same way in the movie. Just, boy gets COVID and asks for cure. Didn't get one, so he has to be a spoiled little brat and throw a temper tantrum, you know. Now, it might include a little bit of a bomb here and there. I mean, he could have, you know, asked the local hospital, or instead of going out and finding a random spider to literally turn you into whatever in God's name happened to him. You know, like, you could just be like, hey, you mind testing this out real quick? I get he didn't have much longer to test out, but weren't his men like scientists? I'm pretty sure they could have gone into the sub lab, gotten that spider, and just been like, hey, we got you a cure, but it needs to be worked on for like a day or two. I feel like that wouldn't have been much of an issue. If anything, Harry was just a brat in both the game and the movie. An impatient little turd who wanted his toy so badly that he just wanted to kill afterwards. And then there comes Electro. Again. Hated that fight. That scared the absolute crap out of me. But, nothing about that game was good. Absolutely nothing. The same goes for the movie. I mean, I'm fine. With movies that show, like, character development, but, and this goes, like, this is due with respect to the actor and the actors, actresses, and all that. A character who can't move on from a girl and decides to embarrass her for it and literally spray paint the bridge with webs saying, I still love you, and then proceeding to take your mask off on top of said bridge, I don't feel like that's the smartest thing to do. Especially when there's crime in the city. I don't feel like that's a good idea to do, you know? I feel like that's just a wee bit stupid. Now, obviously, this isn't their fault. This is how the story was written, and therefore, that's the story's fault for making Peter seem that way. the CGI in Andrew's movie, I know this has nothing to do with the actual topic, but God, was the CGI good in that movie. Like, they had all the proper physics for the suit in case he was swinging. Like, electricity might have looked weird every now and then, but I was fine with it. My only issue was Max Dillon. Boy went from a solid 7 out of 10 to, like, what in God's name is that? 0.
That's surprising.
So it's like, yeah, that's just a little bit bad. That's a little bit bad. But okay, back to the actual topic. I know this game isn't going to have as many villains, and if it does, may God have mercy on their soul. Um,
Not bad. That's surprising. Not bad.
I don't know. Anyways.
That's surprising.
The game wasn't good, the movie wasn't good. Insomniac'S gonna handle it a lot better, I feel, but that's just my only concern about it. I know I've been kind of cutting from speaking to quiet because I haven't had much meds, so I can't really focus on everything at once. So, yeah. One's bad, one might be good. I'd say the only thing Spider-Man 2, like, huh?
Hey man.
Not bad.
Oh, hello. What was I saying? Right. Insomniac's gonna handle it a lot better,
Also,
I feel.
whatever is the first part of the stream for laughing?
I
Insomniac's on my way home.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyways, Insomniac Spider-Man probably gonna be a lot better than Activision's Spider-Man. I think the only thing Activision had going for it when it came to that Spider-Man game was the outfits. And even those had some questionable designs. Like, you can't tell me that they had no other thought when including the... Come to me, and I never understood why my brother loved it so much, but it just never... It never kind of stuck with me. I just hated that suit. I feel like a better suit would have been, you know, anything else. A Scarlet Spider suit. You know, a Ben Reilly suit. Anything would have done better than that abomination. Now, Insomniac, what I want you to do is you've already got the one where it's like the blue hoodie, red suit. I want the one before he comes into, like, Spider Carnage. You know? I want that suit. That suit was dope. If you can get that, I will officially respect you in any other game you make. Even if it's bad.
Hey man. Also whatever is the first...
Oh my god. Oh my god. It just sent the same thing several different times. Oh my god. How do you not know there's not going to be a new Spider-Man game? How do you not know that?
Laughing.
How do you not know that? No, like, for real. They've been all over about this new Spider-Man game from Insomniac. People behind Spider-Man PS4.
I don't pay attention to the chit.
Well, maybe you should. Anyways. If they include that suit, I'm gonna love it. I've always liked that suit. Not as much as the blue, like, ripped hoodie. I've always loved that suit more. But Ben Reilly's second suit, the one where he's, like, officially a Spider-Man, love that one. Absolutely love it. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. My balls are retractable like Robin's staff, and I'll